We welcome you to Lånkebanen in Norway for round 3 of the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge presented by Nitro Circus. Before we get to our coverage tonight, please enjoy an encore presentation of the iDriveSimTraining Barcelona Bash, the feature race that is, from last week at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain. And powered by the Automotive Sports Network, as it's Josh Mertz, Cody, Erdmann, Victor, Vallee, Charley Daniels, in various spaces in cyberspace. Sindre Silva, Connor Parisi, Josh Edmondson. That is our first 3 seeds, and it's a lot like last week in Brands Hatch. Luke Kraus, Philip Kraus, no relation, Adam Thomas, Ray Kingsbury, Robbie LaRoe, Magnus Okenhaug, Bodie Cryer, Matt Hartley, and let's see who else there is. Dan McDonald is our 12th seed. 12 cars, 10 laps, 2 jokers, and glad you could join us here on the Automotive Sports Network, powered by Nitro Circus, otherwise the other way around. Hopefully, Charley Daniels won't kill me as we get ready to go green in Barcelona. Green flag, Sindre Silva off the line, battling with Parisi just like last week. On the outside is Kraus. Over is Thomas in the 625 in the Volkswagen as Luke Kraus got shoved out wide in the 134. Take him out of the 3rd spot, put him back into 5th as we have a couple nudges back in the back of the field, but Connor Parisi and Sindre Silva getting close. Philip Kraus and Josh Edmondson 3rd and 4th through the hairpin to begin the first lap of the race. Single file, Larill nudges Okenhaug, who nudges himself into the tire barrier. And it's calmed down as we get close to the final sector. Sindre Silva trying to pull away, but Connor's right there, and we see it again today in Barcelona, Cody.
Yeah, as we got these 2 guys, it's round 2 of them 2 running away, but now we have our 3rd contender of Philip Kraus. Like I said, if he gets a good start, he can keep up with these guys and put a ton of pressure on them like he is.
And now second all-time on the wins list and a 4-time champion, Philip Kraus, in the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge presented by Nitro Circus. No jokers here. Connor got really close.
As he definitely knows what he's doing, as Ray is the first one to joker here for this lap.
Look at the 25 of Ray Kingsbury. He's going to get a little bit clearer track compared to what he had. And I just can't keep my eyes off of this lead battle. Those 2 are all over each other. Connor, I think, is faster in this final set, in this middle sector here. Opens the door for Connor, does Sindre in the 63. And remember, Sindre Silva does not run car number 1 on his defending champion seasons. The last car to do that was Philip Kraus back in 2017 C, so I don't think he ran car number 1 that season. As these 2 battling to the death as we begin lap number 3 here in Barcelona. These 2 have not jokered, nor has Philip Kraus, I don't think. Nobody has. Luke Kraus has, as he's battling with Daniel McDonald, who has not jokered in the back of the field. And Kingsbury has completed his strategy, so keep an eye on the 25. We'll see where he will come out in relation to these 2 battling. Robbie Larill back behind the 25. He locked up the brakes pretty bad in that Subaru.
With these 2 battling nose to tail like they are, do you think we're going to have a little bit of bumper action, a little chrome horn, bump and run action like we possibly could have coming here to the end?
You'd have to think that it's going to be possible with these guys being all over each other. Lap time 41.9 to a 42 flat. Jokering is Magnus, and jokering is Edmondson, I believe. And Magnus gets turned by Ray Kingsbury on the joker merge. So Magnus out of the equation. Unfortunate for him. Luke Kraus, I apologize. That was the car that I think completed his strategy. Those cars look so familiar, so close, I should say, to the Jim Beaver Esports cars. It's Sindre Silva, Connor Parisi, Philip Kraus, Edmondson, McDonald, who pipped Luke Kraus on the joker rotation, but McDonald has not taken both of his jokers, I don't think. I don't think he's taken any jokers at all. We'll see when this updates here. He has to joker for the first time. Parisi has jokered on his first bit of strategy. Sindre has not. Philip Kraus has not, but Connor is stuck behind Philip Kraus now.
I wonder if this was kind of a unplanned idea or...
Edmondson into the tires! So the 58 who was running in 4th.
As he's still yet to turn around. Now start to do as Luke Kraus gets by him.
Sindre still hasn't jokered. We haven't missed anything there. Will Philip Kraus joker? No. Connor's not going to joker again.
As Ray Kingsbury also got in front of Edmondson, so he fell way back from that.
Of course, I'm not supposed to couch analyze strategy, but I would have jokered right there if I was Parisi. To be perfectly honest, you're going to be stuck behind Phil, which not discrediting Phil at all, but you want to get that clear track like we've hammered home so many different times, and it's not going to help him.
And actually, that last lap, Connor was a half a second fast.
Oh, we did notice that. 41.5 to a 42 flat. Phil was a 42.3. Sindre jokers on his first strategy opportunity, or for his first strategy, I should say. Joker rotation, Sindre holds it. And that's a big gap. I think he might have lost time.
Yeah, as he had Connor that last lap at a 42.3, so a couple tenths slower. If he was down in the 41s like they were running, I think this may be a little bit different. So maybe being stuck behind Phil wasn't as good as what we thought.
Jokering was Cryer and Edmondson in the back of the field. They're battling for the lower positions. Sindre Silva clobbering that curb, entering turn number 2. We're going to look at the lap time rotation here, Cody. But it might be a Sindre Silva show all over again, but he still has a joker left as we take 3 laps to go.
As a 41.1 to a 42.1, although Sindre did have the speed coming out of the joker for that lap, so I think that's where the speed was from.
41.8 for Philip Kraus that last lap. He sits in 3rd. Luke Kraus is in 4th. Phil has not taken his other joker yet, so we'll see what will happen with the Canadian.
Luke has, but he's about 6 seconds behind, so I don't think Phil's joker will help him.
We will see what happens. Sindre's going to blink first. Connor is going to not joker, so put Connor into the race lead. Sindre jokers, 2 laps to go in Barcelona. Philip Kraus jokers as well in the 19, and he stays ahead of Luke Kraus. So this is going to be the battle for the race lead and the race win. Can Connor Parisi hold off Sindre Silva, or can he force Silva into a mistake?
Sindre here has been really using a lot of those sleeping policemen.
It's Phil wide in the hairpin, but he holds the spot. The wider line must work very well. If I was Connor, I would almost take the joker on the last lap to make sure you can get that more momentum, but we don't know. He's going to joker now. Where is Sindre? Sindre rounding the corner. Connor comes out of the joker. That gap is huge. White flag in Barcelona.
As Sindre put in amazing laps here to be able to pull out this lead on Connor.
As we might be seeing another victory from Sindre Silva, and if he can hold it off for these last couple of corners, he's going to make 4 wins in a row over the last 2 seasons. He's going to join Bo Albert, Elliot Porterfield, and I can't believe that I'm forgetting Marwan Moftah as a driver to win the first 2 rounds of the championship. Opens his points lead even further as he wins in Spain ahead of Connor Parisi. Philip Kraus comes home on the pole.
I was just about to say there, as Philip Kraus gets on the podium, Luke Kraus in 4th.
Lorel Jokers gets passed by McDonald. McDonald will come home in the 7th spot. Cryer 8th, 9th Lorel, 10th Oak.
Yep. Lorel gets. Looking at the quick thing.
Lorel's 9th, yeah.
Oakenhog 10th.
Oh,
11th.
Edmondson is fuming at Oakenhog, nudged him completely out of the way.
So we'll go ahead and take a look at that real quick if we can.
Yeah, them two were a lot higher than they were. Especially Edmondson, he dropped really far.
So this was right at the end of the race, so it was before this. We'll see what happened here. I don't think we're going to be able to see a replay of it. Actually, there it is. Looks like it's going to happen sometime around here, possibly. But I don't see it on the replay at all. But that'll be something we see later on. But nevertheless, Josh, hopefully your connection has resolved itself here, and we can go ahead and talk to our
I
top
gone?
3. Yes.
You were in and out, yeah.
Yes, you were
thank you,
in
Comcast.
and out. So
thank you, Comcast. Excellent.
Talking is because you were cut off with that.
I was
that's a
wondering
classic.
why it was stuttering.
That
Thank
is
you,
a
Comcast.
classic iRacing Nitro Circus and NASA moment right there, I believe. If,
So we gotta
I'd have
finish
to
it off
say.
right.
Yeah. And so.
Well, let's grab in our top 3. I'll try and get an interview with this guy named Philip Kraus before my internet decides to die again. So
yeah, that'd be
let me go find him.
A good idea. I do see him. I don't have permission to move him up, but you'll have to do that for me. And there he is.
Hey, you're supposed to be washed up and a has-been. What are you doing on the podium?
Going slow in the 2 WCS, guys. What are y'all doing up here?
Oh, well, I'm having Comcast issues and blew my finish call. But, you know, I thought you were going to hold on. I thought you were going to maybe steal that heat win earlier and maybe challenge them. How's the mind of Philip Kraus doing right now?
Just one fat vibe, to be honest. Because that whole feature, I was just kind of by myself, just chilling, watching, Connor and Sindre pull me like 3-4 tenths a lap, getting a little sad, then looking behind and seeing that I'm pulling other people by 3-4 tenths a lap, getting kind of happy, and ended up third.
I don't even have like anything else to ask. I mean, we've talked about throughout the show how the track is a lot like a street circuit. It's kind of stop, kind of go, really narrow. Would you agree with that, or what's your opinion of this track?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's really stop and go, and that's why you probably saw so many incidents today. Because obviously the start, you go straight into a really tight hairpin, and everyone's trying to fight for the inside. And if you're on the outside, I was saying it to Ray before we started. If you're on the outside, you're screwed because there's a good chance they're going to crash on your inside. When you're on the outside, good luck avoiding that. But it seemed like the feature start was a lot cleaner than the heats because the heats were really messy. The LCQs cleaned up a bit, and then it looked like in the final there was only one little incident into turn 1, which is really nice to see considering the nature of the track.
As before we let you go, do you have any partners to thank, anything like that before you go?
Spark's pretty cool. They got a big fat logo on my car. Just give them a look.
Well, good run, despite being sad yet happy. And hopefully we will see you next week in Norway.
Yeah, thank you.
And we bring in Connor Parisi, second place man, Cody Erdmann.
Why, hello, Connor, again for the second week in a row, and unfortunately the same step of the podium.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder.
Sorry, unfortunately, with me being the second guy in the booth, it's what I have to deal with, unfortunately. But great race on your part. You're battling with Sindre the entire time. It was pretty much you two being the class of the field the whole race. You did have Phil kind of battling with you guys. What did you think of that, with kind of having to play offense but also defense with having Phil and Sindre in front and behind you?
Yeah, I had a suboptimal Joker strategy. It was a little tough this week to see who jokered and who didn't, and the deltas were a little unclear. So I sent it, knowing I had to do something different than Sindre. And I think I did it a couple laps too soon. Came in right between Josh and Phil, and that cost me probably a good half a second to a second. So I knew then I was playing catch up from there. So it was kind of suboptimal on my end.
And I made a comment to Josh about halfway through the race, but I think just because how the Jokers played out, you didn't really have a chance for it. But I noticed in the beginning you were really on Sindre's bumper. Were you thinking if it came to the end that you may have to use your front bumper to kind of just nudge him out of the way, give yourself a little bit of track to get underneath him and pass him?
We were in the Discord together joking, about bumping runs and how much elbows we'd put out on each other. And honestly, I would give him a little bumperoni for the win, but didn't quite get down to that. So good win to him.
Well, put on another great, amazing show this week. Anyone you'd like to thank?
Got to thank the whole Jim Beaver Esports squad. Fistful of bourbon. It's not just a bourbon; it's a damn fistful. Polaris Razor, the Motorsports Drop, Dirtfish Rally School, and a big thanks to you guys for putting on the show. Oh, and Nitro Circus. How cool is it? Nitro Circus is here.
Yeah. Well, and next week we're to the track that I think we would both agree that unfortunately affected the championship outcome. So hopefully you have a better result and give you a better chance of winning the title this season.
Was it Atlanta next week?
We go to Norway. We're in
Norway was where you had your connection problem.
Yeah, I think I have some unfinished business there.
Yes,
So
you do. So good luck to next week and the rest of the season.
thanks, fellas.
And that was Connor Parisi who finished second. And Josh, if you can do the honors of bringing Sindre Silva in here. Actually, there he is already. All right, Sindre, my man. I picked you to win. I picked you to win on the broadcast. You didn't let me down, man. I knew you were going to do it. Tell us about that result, man. Good job.
Yeah, it was a nice result. It's what I need to get the gaps. So when we are driving those new tracks, I have spent a lot of time practicing those before the Pro Q and stuff. So I know I have the speed, but I need to practice more the used track as well, because I know Connor has more experience in those tracks. So we just need to push, and like we did today.
Yeah, and I know Connor just mentioned it about his Joker strategy and how it did not play out for him. When you saw him Joker and come out behind Phil, did you think at that point you were like, all right, awesome, this is going to work out really well for me? Or were you still just on it and just trying to push even more to try to continue to build that gap?
So it was actually hard because I didn't know anything about the Joker at all, because we had some server issues. So I didn't know how many Jokers had been taken and things like that. So actually I thought Connor jumped me when I did my second Joker there. So I thought I was going in P2 there, but he went into Joker. So yeah. You don't have those delta times and see how many people that have taken 2 Jokers and things like that. But I just pushed what I had every lap. I had some computer issues, so I was down at I think 20 FPS in some of the corners and stuff. So it was a little struggle, but we managed to get the P1, so I'm happy.
Yeah, and one more thing before I ask you who to thank. I know yesterday you were running the iRacing All-Stars, the IRX All-Star Rallycross here. How much of a help was that for you to run against other drivers and just get that competition experience?
So it was a valuable thing for sure. Having a little bit more experience driving with others on the track, and it's the best of the best people that you can race with in the world on iRacing Rallycross. So having that competition for sure helped a lot. But we were driving with the default setups. We didn't do that today, so it was a big difference in one way. We don't have the same gearing and things like that, so it was something to get used to for sure. So I spent, I think, 2 hours or something doing some few laps before this race. I think that helped more than racing the All-Star race yesterday.
Well, of course, as I just said, who do you have to thank, man? As I say, you always put on a good show for us.
I want to thank Fox Gaming for awesome support and a good car. They have delivered an awesome car in both the All-Star Invitational races and NASA here. I want to thank our sponsors, Power, Örskog Sparbank, Nocco, Adidas, and Fjordfjell for awesome support throughout the season.
Well, thank you so much, Sindre, and can't wait to see you next week in your home race in Norway.
Thank you, guys.
Before I let you go, Sindre, I just want to let you know, I don't know if you're a stats guy, but you won the last 2 races of last season. You've won the first 2 races of this season. You're the 4th guy to win the first 2 races. Are you, dumb question, are you just going to keep pushing forward to try and break that long-standing record of someone not being able to win 3 in a row from the beginning?
So I know, or I didn't know, I knew now that the Hell is the next track. It's not my strongest, even though it's my home track. It's not my strongest track. I think Connor has more pace than me there, so I think I want to push down some few extra laps before before the next week. Yeah, we will see. Connor can have a bad day as he had that hell last time, so we will see.
Alrighty, buddy. Good run, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you guys.
As Charlie Daniels, Twitch Land, give us a recap.
We've got Kieran Forrest and Trevor Teal in Twitch chat talking about putting on a big show next week. It sounds a little ominous, but I guarantee you these two guys drive clean, so I can't wait to see what they bring. Also, just want to give a real quick thank you to the 49er Miner cheering 1 bit. Look, it's just 1 bit, but we'll take everything we can get. All the support helps. Everyone in chat, everyone following, everyone subbing, thank you all so much. We couldn't be here without you guys, so just want to give a shout out to the fans in chat. And can't wait for next week. Even though my pick this week did not make the top 3 like I had hoped, I'm still going to be rooting for Edmondson into next week because I feel like he's got it in him. So that's going to be, he's going to be my horse for this season, guys. I'm just laying it out there right now. I know that no one asked, but we're Edmonton fans over here. So yeah, can't wait to see how next week goes.
And Cody?
Yeah, it was definitely kind of what we expected. A lot of chaos in the beginning. This is kind of the tightness of how this circuit is. Like how Josh says, about kind of like a street circuit, but with dirt and jumps. So definitely what we expected. The final was a lot cleaner in the beginning than I kind of thought we would have, but now we're on to Norway, one track that I know a lot of these guys have a ton of laps at, and it almost kind of the same feel, a little bit more wide open, real short lap times though, so be a quick, fast-paced race and make sure to hit all your marks. Looking forward to next week.
And Victor.
Oh gosh, I don't know really what to say here. I know Cody just mentioned how clean of a start it was in the feature, but I gotta tell you guys, the biggest thing about these starts in the feature is this is the best of the best guys. So of course it's gonna be a little bit better off and cleaner than almost any other part of the track in weekend, or well, technically it's a night for us. So I think that's a little bit of the reason why it's so clean. But once again, it never feels like I'm like able to put the words together to tell you how exciting this racing always turns out to be. And Josh, it's always great to be here on Nitro Circus as well.
As after the second round of the championship, unofficially, Sindre Silva 66 points ahead of Connor Parisi with 56, Luke Kraus 47, Philip Kraus 41, Matt Hartley with 42 for Phil, 41 for Matt Hartley. So first 2 rounds of the championship are done and dusted, and it just gets better from here. Programming note: for the Penguin RC Simulation Sports Car Challenge, we are off next Monday, so enjoy your Monday night. We'll be back here on Nitro Circus Twitch for the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge presented by Nitro Circus, powered by the Automotive Sports Network. The Hell on Wheels Spectacular by iDriveSimTraining in Lånkebanen in Norway. As I, of course, become unprepared as I always are, Charlie Daniels, is Nitro Circus League running next week?
I believe next week we have another IRX invitational, All-Star Invitational, and champion or Pro Driver Series. But the best way for everyone to keep it up to speed on when all the streams are is to follow us on Discord, which I'll throw the links in chat right now, because I'm the absolute worst at remembering dates and times of anything ever.
As for all of us, for all of you that are on the Nitro Circus Twitch, or even if you have tuned in on the Automotive Sports Network on demand, you can join in on the fun here at NASA Sim Racing. I had a couple people ask last week. NASADiscord.tk. That's a dedicated link. It'll pop you right into the Discord. You can come hang out, join us, whatever it may be. From all of us here at Nitro Circus and the Automotive Sports Network and NASA Sim Racing, we hope you enjoyed today's coverage of the iDriveSimTraining Barcelona Bash from Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Be sure to join us next week in Norway for the Hell on Wheels Spectacular. But from Cody Erdmann, Victor Vallee, Charlie Daniels, and all the staff at NASA Sim Racing and Nitro Circus, I am Josh Mertz, and we will see you next week. But until then, so long, everyone. was trying to figure out a more appropriate name for this race, but I couldn't. Tonight, we come to hell. Literally. And yes, I'm going to keep using that joke until the end of time. Tonight, the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge, presented by Nitro Circus, completes the international trios of events as we are live for the Hell on Wheels Spectacular by iDriveSimTraining. With Victor Vallee in the production truck, Charley Daniels in Twitchland, and Cody Erdmann next to me in the commentary cube, I am Josh Mertz as we welcome you to coverage on Nitro Circus Twitch, and be sure to join the conversation using the hashtags NASA Rallycross and NASA on Nitro. Cody, I have to ask you, Sindre, 2 race wins to open the season. He is 4 in a row. Can he break the tie that he has with Elliot Porterfield, Marwan Moftah, Connor Parisi, and Bo Albert, and finally win 3 from the beginning of the season?
Well, for one, thank you for having me here. Grateful to be here in hell. It's fun to be here now. So on your question about Sindre, it's very possible if he does. Obviously, he showed that he can win 2 in a row. So why can't he win 3 in a row? Well, as we've seen in practice, that this field is extremely tight tonight. As currently he is sitting second on the charts with Connor being up there on the top of the charts, but as we saw in earlier practice, Connor was way down the charts in like P8, P9, so it's a very tight field tonight. We may see a regular winner like Connor or Sindre, or we may have surprise first-time winner.
As speaking of surprises on pace, we noticed Daniel McDonald for the LRL racing team in that Ford Fiesta, the Scotsman, P2 early on in practice, so we'll see if that squad can keep up that momentum. As we're going to take a look at the Drivers' Championship coming into round number 3, presented by Simracer Coin. So Sindre Silva will hold the red plate and the red banner. You can see there on car number 63. He has a 14-point lead over Connor Parisi. Luke Krause has 19 back. Philip Krause, remember no relation, 24 back. Matt Hartley, Ray Kingsbury, Josh Edmondson, Oakenhaug, Kingsbury, Cryer, the top 10. As the iDriveSimTraining Constructors Championship after 2 rounds. Jim Beaver Esports 14 ahead of Spark LLM. Ferris Shifters 30 back. LRL Fiercely Forward round out the top 5. So we have Dirt Esports, DF Auto Care, iDriveSimTraining, Sequential Sim Sport, and Nitro Circus DGR in 10th place. Crazy that we have 10 constructors. And the Manufacturers Championship, I'm not sure if we have a graphic on that. We do not, as Victor Vallee confirms to me, but 66 points for Subaru, 39 for Ford, and 33 for Volkswagen. 2 perfect races to open the championship, Cody. And as I pull up my stat book here, Subaru, 102 wins in the championship overall, and we've ran, I think, 189 races. That's an insane win stat there.
Yeah, and crazy question, how many does MRT have between the both of us?
Oh,
That's
MRT.
a decent amount.
MRT has 73 wins. I could go into detail and see how many wins each of us have for which team, because we ran a couple, but 73.
And also Philip Krause, too.
Yes.
He racked up a ton in the Subaru, so I think between us 3, that's a decent amount of them.
Like I said, the Drivers' Championship presented by Simracer Coin, the cryptocurrency made by Simracers for Simracers. And we have, let me do my looking here, 25, I believe, racers to race to own the winner's coin. Welcome to Nitro Circus. Words are hard. Format for today's race. So, heat races. We're going to have 3 of them. They're going to be 10 to 11 cars. We'll just have to see how the sim decides to split them up. 6 laps, Joker once, and the top 2 advance. You get some bonus points there. Puts you into 2 semifinals if you're not in the top 2. 2 races, up to 13 cars, 8 laps, Joker twice. The top 3 will transfer to give us 10 laps, 12 cars, and 2 Jokers. And this track, built on the side of a mountain or a hill, I remember, but I can't also remember. And this track, very tricky, very undulating, very hard to get right. And there's 2 separate sets of curbs that I've noticed when I ran here. There's the curbs like in this shot here, the ones on the left that are flat, and the ones on the right before it cut away there, they're raised up. And if I'm not mistaken, Cody, if I can remember when I raced here, those raised curbs, the cars don't like them.
No, especially not as we're on board Sindre here. the curbs on the left side right here are really tall, and if you kind of the fast guys will know how to use them to get the car to rotate.
Especially in this corner here.
Yeah, and this one as well. Yeah, yeah. If you're able to put the right front on the dirt on the inside of it, there's a little bit more grip there, so then you can catch the curb right and it helps rotate. You get a good launch off the corner.
You got to be worried. I tried to do that when I was in my final season as a driver in 2020A. And if you, I believe, clip the right rear onto that curb, you're going to loop the car. So it's almost like, kind of like a reverse of our off-track rules. You have to have 3 wheels, or 1 wheel on the racing surface, but you have 1 wheel off, and you can't touch that curb, because otherwise you're going to loop it.
Yeah, it's a very fine line of having a really fast lap, and just because of that one corner and being 3-4 tenths off the pace instantly. Like, even if you get it half right, it's a lot of time lost.
As for everyone that is new here on the Nitro Circus Twitch, we welcome you to the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge presented by Nitro Circus. Josh Mertz, Cody Erdmann. I really hate to say this part of the thing because it sounds like I'm stroking my own ego, but 40 wins for me, 18 for Cody, 6 championships for me, 2 for him. So on the NR 2003 days, we kind of knew what we were doing, and we know a little bit of how to race these cars, but there's a reason why we are in the MRT retirement commentary cube. And Cody, it's gonna be cold. Ambient temperature 69 degrees, 84 track temp.
Yeah, so the dirt won't affect as much, but on the asphalt it'll definitely be, especially on cold tires, you won't grip as well. But once you get heat in the tires, it'll actually be really good for a ton of grip on the cold. And also on the stats thing, how many more full seasons did you do compared to me?
You've told me that for the last 9 years, and I really don't believe that if you ran more seasons, you would have higher stats. But for all of you that are wondering, like I said, for those of you who are new, we do have the Automotive Sports Network on demand, so we have actually all of those races posted. There's a channel in the Discord, which is the Discord link, popping in and out of chat every once in a while, and you can revisit the last 9 years. Crazy to think about. Let's get off our nostalgia train. Charlie Daniels, how are you? And how is Twitchland?
Doing great over here. We had a prediction ahead of the race for the chat to weigh in on. Will Trevor Teal make the feature? Everyone but one person voted that yes, he will make the feature, and that one person who voted no, Trevor Teal.
That's a beautiful car. I think that's Trevor Teal featured on screen. I have to cut out real quick for your bit here. I'm sorry, Charlie. I love rhyming unintentionally. Remember how our whole intro, Cody, was Sindre Silva? Can he make it 2 in a row? He's about to cross the line in qualifying. 37 flat. Connor is 4 tenths up on the Norwegian.
Yeah, Connor's definitely showed the pace. And also, if we remember last season here, Connor had electrical problems, so he's out for redemption. So you put a chip on this guy's shoulder who was really good to start with, and I think we can see who may be the favorite tonight is.
Let's take a look at Connor Parisi crossing the line on his final lap. Didn't look like it counted, so I think he might have had an off track there. And you'll notice the Joker here. I think that's actually the line that everyone's going to take. And it's interesting because I tried to take that once using that little dirt berm as a little bit of a banking. Tangent on a tangent. Reminds me of the banked corners at Las Vegas, if you remember that Coliseum track.
Yeah, it's fairly similar to how we did that. You can kind of, it's nice that it gives drivers different options on how to take that corner. You can use a lot of the banking. You can come in kind of shallow and do a real tight hairpin. So
we will keep an eye on the Joker all evening long. Of course, we have to take it once in the heats, twice in the semifinal and the final. But this Joker, it's going to be tricky off the start and just racing in general, because you either go straight or you turn, as dumb as that sounds. But my words are failing me because we're about to go grid up for heat number 1. And I am very excited for this heat race. Connor Parisi, Philip Kraus, Josh Edmondson. Then Daniel McDonald, Ray Kingsbury, Matt Kingsbury, Josh Klog, Diane Feldman, and Parker Fleming. Remember Parker Fleming, the Monster Energy Supercross, the 250 rider that we have featured in our series. And we had meant to get an interview once again, but we don't really plan very well with Nitro Circus and ASN. It's just a running
game. You can
game.
blame his team owner.
Yeah, it's all your fault. I wouldn't be surprised if you got punched, just like Jeff Green. That's an inside joke as well. Welcome to NASA. Welcome to Nitro Circus. Welcome to ASN. Heat number 1 here in Norway. Connor Parisi on pole position. He is the fastest car, obviously, and he's going to get redemption and see if he can start the feature from pole position. 9 cars, 6 laps. Joker once. The Jokers are fixed this week, so they're not going to have to guess as we get ready to go green for Heat 1. Edmondson had a little bit of a jump start off the line, but he let Phil go. It's going to be Phil Kraus and Connor Parisi down to turn 1. Connor Parisi forces his way in on Philip Kraus. They're still side by side. 3 cars took to the Joker. Parisi clears Kraus. Jokering is Fleming, Feldman, and it looked like it was McDonald who hit Kraus in the 19. And it was not McDonald that came off the Joker. Side by side, Klog and Kraus coming together. McDonald's going to pick up the pieces here and take that position. He did not Joker. I stand corrected there. We'll see when the rotation fixes itself. Josh Klog getting very close, but Connor Parisi, Cody, right where he needs to be. Klog gets turned, slides out of the final corner, but Parisi right where he needs to be.
Yeah, Connor jumped out to the perfect start that he needed. Get run away from these guys. This way he has a clean race. As we got Phil, who's didn't have he had a good initial start, but then kind of got bounced around a little bit like a pinball, and now he's falling back. Now he's putting pressure on Dan as he tries to go up the inside here.
As we ride on board the Spark LLM Subaru of Philip Kraus, passing the LRL Ford of Daniel McDonald in that hairpin. Very tricky to get that right. The first one of the Joker Brigade is Josh Edmondson in the 58, then Ray Kingsbury in the 25, Matt Kingsbury in the 21. And Parisi does not Joker, but he has a 3.5 second lead over Philip Kraus. Jokering is Daniel McDonald in the 95. I think we're going to be really focusing here on the transfer spot. Edmondson comes out ahead of Dan Mack, and Dan Mack comes out behind Ray Kingsbury.
Yeah, I noticed when Dan, when he went into the Joker, he came in really shallow and didn't have a lot of speed through the center, so I think that's kind of where he lost his time going through there.
We take cross flags in heat number 1. Connor Parisi, 37 flat. He's not going to Joker. Dare I say it, he's probably going to Joker on the last lap. 37.3 for Philip Kraus in car number 19. Klog in the 199 has not Jokered either. So the top 3 are really going to be, we're going to focus on them. I mean, Parisi, I think, is going to Joker on the last lap. If I was in this position, I would, because you have the Delta. It's a longer lap. He's basically got it locked up. Of course, anything can happen. But from my knowledge, at least, I'd like to think you Joker on the last lap.
Yeah, and unlike last week, where if you Jokered on the last lap, you're almost actually more of a disadvantage because you're not utilizing all that speed coming out of it. So with this one being
Edmondson loops it here on screen. In the 58, he was battling, I think, for the 4th spot. Clipped the curb, just like we talked about. You clip those raised curbs and it loops the car. And it's the curbs are starting to grip up, even in heat number 1. The rubber's going to get laid down. The dirt's going to get cleared out, but it's still obviously dirt instead of dirt on asphalt like we will hear throughout the championship this season.
Yeah, his top 3 is being about the same. We got Connor first, Phil second.
Now he Jokers. Let's see if Phil will Joker. He does. So strategy's going to be done. As I stand corrected, I'm blind. It is the final lap. Welcome to Nitro Circus NASA, everyone.
As Ray jumps Klog along with Dan
Mack. Oh, inside Klog on Dan Mack. 3 wide with Edmondson. Remember, this is not for a transfer. This is to grid up in the semifinal. Edmondson to the inside, into Klog, gets hit by McDonald, and Klog gets turned. Klog nearly saves himself, but then he got turned again. Connor Parisi, pole position for Norway, ahead of Philip Kraus, who transfers. And if I was Sindre Silva, Cody, I would be worried.
I would also. He showed exactly the speed that he had in qualifying. And also, once Phil got out in clean track, he was able to keep about the same distance as Connor. So don't be surprised if we see Phil up on the podium again, just like last week.
As to the semifinal, Ray Kingsbury, Dan Mack, Josh Klog, Matt Kingsbury, Josh Edmondson, Parker Fleming, Diane Feldman. As our second heat race, has our points leader, defending champion, defending race winner for the last 4 rounds, Sindre Silva, on pole position. Robbie Larill, Jason Hook, Marwan Mafta, Bodie Cryer, Andrew Howell, Justin Robichaud, James Watson, and Gordon Labine. Another 9-car race. And this one, we know how fast Sindre is, obviously, but keep an eye on Hook and Larill with their starts. We know how good they are as well. Another 6-lap race. As everyone grids up, we were missing Bodie Cryer. As we rev him up, preparing to go green in heat number 2 here in Norway. Green flag. Moftaw with a lightning start, passing Larill, passing Hook, into turn 1. Sindre goes wide, Moftaw to the inside, so the former race winner, the Egyptian, trying to battle the Norwegian through turn 2. Jokering was Hook in the 137, and I believe it was James Watson. As Moftaw couldn't hold it through turn 2, can he try and make up the gap? Slides it through the hairpin there. Larill sideways and made contact with Moftaw, barges his way through, so the 213 back into second spot. Moftaw's not happy, as Sindre Silva leads at the end of the first lap.
Yeah, as we got Mr. Practice himself, Robbie, he's up. He's got a really good start, able to get up in the P2 here. Marwan had a really good start, and let's see now if he can capitalize on getting into the extra transfer spot here, as we got Sindre leading.
As Robbie Larill on the curves, just like we talked about, looped the car. Beautiful onboard shot from Marwan Moftaw's car. As Robbie Larill, my phone goes off at 3 in the morning for Discord, and I wake up in the morning, and it says, Robbie Larill, session up at 3 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning. Of course, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he is in the United Kingdom, but, I mean, these guys race all the time whenever they want.
Yeah, that's why I made the comment about Mr. Practice, because I always see Practice up with him on this for doing Rallycross, and it's all times of the night.
Larill holds second, Moftaw third, Bodie Cryer fourth, Hook is in fifth. He got by Robichaud. Robichaud had to joker in the 93. So Hook is the first car to joker. Sindre Silva still holds the lead. He does not joker. Larill, let's see if he will. No, as we take crossed flags. Jokering is Moftaw, way out wide. Moftaw really shallow in the corner. If he doesn't get a slowdown, I'll be surprised, but that probably killed his transfer spot opportunity.
Yeah, because Jason Hook was able to jump over him and get the advantage. So that mistake, although Hook just about may have a slowdown here too.
Oh, Chad has corrected me. Larill is based in Texas. There's one of the drivers on that team from Wales. But even then, that just validates it. This Hook wide in the final corner, passed by Moftaw on the 191. Still side by side over the jump here on the start-finish line. Down to turn 1. Moftaw has jokered. Hook is jokered. Undercutting is the Australian against the Egyptian. Contact between them. As Hook comes on the radio, not sure what he said, but I feel like he was going to let Moftaw through. Chat has made me to be a liar, but that even just solidifies that Robbie Larill races whenever he wants, and he also doesn't sleep.
Yeah, it's crazy times of the night that he's up, as he's putting it to good work as he's P2.
As I really want to give you an opportunity, Charlie Daniels. I'll give you in a moment. Sindre Joker's way out wide in the 63. I don't think it's going to affect him, as Cryer has to joker, Larill has to joker. Where is Jason Hook? Hook is the first car that has not, or already has jokered, and that transfer is not going to be affected.
Yeah, Robbie and Sindre look like they're going to have these transfer spots clinched up here.
Hook went wide in turn 1. Robichaud into it. Robichaud into the wall in 6th. These guys battling to the death like it's for the race win. contact with Hook and Robichaud. They're both around as Sindre Silva, second place, seeding at least, winning Heat 2, and Robbie Larill will transfer in the 213 ahead of Cryer, Moftaw, Howell, Watson. Gordon Labine running a very quiet race is going to come home, looks like in 6th here, as he survived the chaos. Hook, Robichaud, as Labine actually, I think, is off the lead lap, but our timing is a little bit outdated there. So, Charlie Daniels, really quick, Twitchland, what's going on?
The rivalry between Sindre Silva and Connor Parisi gets a little more interesting when inside sources tell me that they have a big bet on the outcome of this round, you guys. So keep an eye on those two because, they could be battling a little harder than usual for that top spot at the end in the feature.
I was about to have a point, and I completely forgot my point. But Luke Krause, Magnus Okenhaug, one of the hometown favorites, Matt Hartley, the 2028 champion, David Schofield, green flag for Heat 3. Sabian Ragster makes his return, and Trevor Teal, after barrel rolling last week, into turn number 1. Jokering is Okenhaug and Hartley. And those guys, no love lost between them. Jokering is Ragster. Jokering is Travis Seymour. Luke Krause out and away from the rest of the field. Not by much. Schofield in the 27. Brandon Lambert, who I thought was in the retirement home with me, decided to get back in the car like Philip Krause. He sits in the 3rd position. To the inside is Schofield in the 46, the inaugural champion. Trevor Teal in the 720. I can't get over how beautiful that car is, as the rest of the cars single file. Running wide in the penultimate corner was Schofield. Final corner on the outside, Lambert trying to make the move, but Luke Krause at the end of the first lap holds the lead.
As Luke got out to an amazing start, we got a really good battle for the second transfer spot with Schofield and Lambert nose to tail. Let's see if Lambert, especially since, as I've kind of harped on a little bit through the weeks, once kind of this third heat, the dirt really is wore out and it starts rubbering up, and this is where the Fords come in. So this may be a good chance for Lambert to get into his first final for the season.
It's Luke Krause pulling away. Schofield runs it wide. So does Lambert. Actually, I think that's the line, so ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. As we take lap number 3. This is going to be an interesting battle between these two. I had a point that I was going to make before the race. Lambert jokers in the 46. Left rear onto that bank to try and get the car to rotate. He's going to come out behind Ragster and Hartley here.
As we'll see if Lambert is now able to either pick his way through the field, get into some open track, or do
Lambert
that.
sends it on Ragster in the 91. I was just about to mention, he had already jokered. He is behind them now. He makes the move on Ragster, and now he's going to get by Hartley. Ragster not done with him, though. Runs it wide was the 46. Maybe he gave the spot back. No, he got a slowdown in the 46.
Yeah. Unfortunately, got a slowdown there, so that kind of sets him back.
Jokering that is Schofield into Hartley. And the 2028 champion off the road comes back out, but he's going to be behind his rival Okenhaug. That is for 7th. So Schofield elbows out in the 27. Coming to 2 laps to go, and now Ragster, we know how fast Sabian is in a GT car, and he has bits of brilliance in these rally cars for Dirt Esport, and the infamous Renovo Racing Zebra Stripes on that 91.
Yeah, Schofield's got about a 1.5 second lead on him, so let's see if Savion's able to reel him in.
As everyone has jokered except for Luke Krause, the gap at the line that last lap was 6.6 seconds. Plenty of time to hold that position there. And fiercely forward, looking to make it into another final. White flag for Luke Krause, the Canadian, car number 134. He will joker. Schofield just crosses the line to start the white flag lap, so Krause holding this very comfortably.
Yeah, Luke was able to just get out into a nice, clean track and able to run his own laps and just pull away from the rest of the field, as he got about a 6.5 second lead before the joker. So he's able to have a nice big lead just to not even worry about the guys behind him.
As I just can sit in awe about how these guys are running these lines to perfection. As Luke Krause, final corner, it was chaos through the field, but Luke Krause certainly didn't see it. He wins Heat 3 in Norway. And Schofield, what happened to Schofield? Did he lose connection to the server while he was finishing his race?
Ooh.
He did! In the final corner! Schofield lost connection and Ragster will transfer!
Well, if I remember correctly about last week, you said
finish line! Wow!
If I remember correctly about last week, you said that we don't versions of mechanical failures. I think that's the worst one.
Wow. I don't even have any words. What a heartbreak for Schofield, who was in the transfer spot, literally 15 feet away from transferring, and he does not make the feature.
As he just fell out.
He did fall out of the server. So he will have time, as Victor Vallee points out, to reconnect for the second semifinal. We're here for semifinal A. And we have a decent amount of cars, 10 cars. Ray Kingsbury, Lambert, Moftaw, Clog, Hartley, Watson, Edmondson, Seymour, Robichaud, and Feldman. 3 cars, 2 jokers, and 8 laps here in Norway. And we've seen turn 1 be calamity all evening already. Green flag. Moftaw gets a good start. Lambert sleeping on the start. Down to turn number 1. Moftaw and it looks like Hartley will joker. Those two came together. Lambert and Watson will joker along with Robichaud. So half the field jokers, half the field doesn't. Edmondson in the 58 gets nudged out of the way from Clog in the 199. And this is allowing Ray Kingsbury to take the advantage and fly away from the rest of the field. Side by side in the hairpin. Edmondson on the inside of Clog, getting really close. Respectful driving between these two drivers and Travis Seymour if these guys go haywire to pick up the pieces. Feldman, Moftaw, Hartley, Lambert, Watson. That running order has not changed for the joker rotation, but Kingsbury at the end of the first lap will lead, and the semifinals have 2 bits of strategy, so it's a little bit more complicated.
As I was surprised to see Edmondson on the 3rd row of the grid here for the start, so him being in P3, that was an amazing start by him.
Feldman, jokers, Hartley, jokers to finish his strategy. Lambert battling with Hartley, 2 former champions of the series. And Clog is getting close to Kingsbury. Remember, these 2 drivers, former teammates in the Sports Car Challenge of NASA Sim Racing, presented by Nitro Circus. So Kingsbury trying to hold this advantage. He was about half a second up on Clog on that first lap, but we'll see the true rotation here. 2/10 down, so Clog was up that last lap. And Edmondson sneaking into the picture as well.
These 3 look to be having just kind of getting a train to run away from the field, so they set up a decent gap behind them so that when they do take their jokers, they're able just to be that far ahead because they're not having to battle and they can just run their own laps.
As we look at Moftaw and Matt Hartley, strategy is done for Hartley, and I believe strategy might be done for Moftaw. Moftaw stuck behind Seymour in the 144, and he was just about to joker, but I think Marwan's going to get hindered by that. Moftaw has only taken 1 joker. Where is Hartley? Hartley comes out behind Seymour. Seymour has not taken both of his jokers yet, so Clog and Edmondson to the race lead. Kingsbury has jokered in the 25. So hard to keep up with everything here, Cody. But this semifinal A, very exciting as we come to cross flags.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a close one between them, these 3. They seem to all be running the same lap time. And with Ray jokering here, let's see what he does. And oh, he's going to joker again. So
what a line by Edmondson. It was off camera, but he hooked that left rear. It snapped the car in such a perfect apex, and Ray's going to come out behind Marwan in the 191. Remember, though, Marwan has not jokered, as hopefully we just caught that joker from Edmondson on the replay.
Yeah,
Blew my mind that he could get that car to stick.
Yeah, that was an amazing joker by him. And with Marwan still having to do 1 more joker, that'll put him behind Ray.
This puts Hartley, tentatively, if we assume that Moftaw is going to not hold the advantage, Hartley's in a transfer spot in the 48. Moftaw, jokers in the 191. That's another thought. Clark has not completed his strategy in the 199. Jokering as Moftaw comes out ahead of the former champion.
Yeah, as I noticed Hartley at the bottom of the hill here, he's having a hard time keeping it down on the bottom. Kind of like this. He washes way wide and then comes down. Not running the normal line.
It's 2 laps to go. Clog's going to have to joker. He's going to have to force his hand. Edmondson has a joker left. Ray has both of them done. And Moftaw has both of them done. Clog slow through the joker. Edmondson into the wall trying to get his second joker done. Kingsbury's going to come out ahead of Edmondson. Edmondson has the run side by side. Turn 2 contact. Kingsbury holds the advantage, stays on the track side by side for second. Now, Moftaw loves this, and so does Hartley, because these guys are battling. Kingsbury's jokers are done. Edmondson, I think, well, that was his last strategy, so the door is open here, and Clog has to take another joker as he takes the white flag here in the first semifinal. As
Hartley spun on that little dirt section. So he kind of fell back off of Marwan now. So it's going to be kind of a three-way battle.
Clog way out wide in the 199, side by side with Kingsbury into turn 2. Kingsbury tries the undercut on the 199, can't get it done. So the man from Maryland and the man from Connecticut battling for this win in the semifinal A, and Edmondson sits in third.
If these three were smart, they wouldn't do anything and just ride.
Waiting in the wings is Moftaw if anything goes wrong. These guys have one corner left. Final corner. Clog will come home to win the semifinal, the first one ahead of Kingsbury and Edmondson. Seating 13th overall is Marwan Moftaw. 15th, Matt Hartley. 17th, Justin Robichaud. 19th, Diane Feldman. 21st, Brandon Lambert. And 23rd will be Travis Seymour. 25th, James Watson. So what a first semifinal. We got one left.
Just kind of as I predicted. I kind of thought them three, because they were all running within 3-4 tenths of each other, that they would all kind of come out at the end right on top of each other like they did. So they put on a good show. Let's see what they can do in this next semi.
We have a quick moment. Charlie, how's Twitchland?
As per usual, chat just dies when the racing's as good as this, you guys. So, it's been pretty quiet in here. We see a lot of people rooting for Feldman, Edmondson, a couple of Hartleys in here. Lots of fans in chat rooting for their drivers. I think everyone's just dying to see how this feature is going to go coming up. Back to you guys.
As 10 cars for another semifinal. Here in Norway, Bodie Cryer, Dan McDonald, Magnus Okenhaug on the outside looking in at his home track. Andrew Howell, Matt Kingsbury, Trevor Teal, Gordon Labine, Parker Fleming, David Schofield, and Jason Hook. Schofield robbed in his heat race green flag. Cryer gets a great jump. The LRL boys side by side. Teal sneaks into the picture in the 720. Jokering in the first opportunity is Teal and Schofield. Contact, it looked like Hook got into, or maybe Howell got into Matt Kingsbury in the 21, and the man from Connecticut in the back of the field. Cryer and McDonald ahead of Okenhaug. I stand corrected. Howell is the Welshman, I do believe, for the DGR squad. Side by side are the teammates for LRL. Okenhaug versus McDonald, and Cryer, speaking of the DGR squad, repping them proud, trying to hold this advantage. And we know these guys for LRL, no team orders. They're going to race the hell out of each other to try and make this feature. At the end of the first lap, Cryer ahead of McDonald, and Okenhaug holds the transfer. But we will see how these strategies unravel as Howell jokers ahead of Fleming. Teal completes his strategy. Matt jokers again. Schofield did not, I took a look at. So we're going to have to use Teal as the guinea pig as his strategy's done, Cody.
Yeah, I kind of thinking Teal made the smart move as the bowling happened inside of him on the right side going into turn 1 and then at the start. He was able to kind of get away from it, but then catch right back up to all those guys. So he may be able to jump them now that he has his strategy done.
As Cryer, McDonald, and Okenhaug, those three under a blanket. Dan Mack is not letting Cryer get away in the 05 against the 95, and Magnus Okenhaug in the 26, close as well. Hook in the 137, getting close as well for Ferris Shifters. Running shallow was Howell in the 666 for DF Auto Care. Looks like you got to slow down there in the Joker. Trevor Teal behind the 666 of Andrew Howell, so the 720, who did some barrel rolls and some vehicular gymnastics true to the Nitro Circus partnership on that car. Trying. His strategy is completed as I'm going to roast you on live air. I just mentioned that, Victor Vallee, but I know you're paying attention at cameras. Dan Mack has gotten by Bodie Cryer for the race lead, and these three have not jokered.
As we saw in practice, Dan Mack had a ton of speed, so let's see if he can use that to his advantage and run away and possibly get us into the final.
Now, I know you are a broken record when it comes to the Ford being better on a worn track, but I think Ray Kingsbury mistakenly reset the track session. Of course, I hate breaking the fourth wall, but he reset the track session. It laid down more dirt, but yet the Ford is faster than the Subaru here.
Yeah.
With Cody.
I did notice that, although it does seem to be kind of coming in a lot quicker than normal, so I'm not sure what that's all about, but yeah, for some reason, I think it's just that short wheelbase. The Ford is so much better. Like, it almost has that advantage once the track rubber's in.
As Bodie Cryer in the 0-5, he jokered there for his first bit of strategy, but he ran it wide in the joker. Jason Hook getting close as well. He's not jokered. Schofield in the 27 jokered on the first lap, and Trevor Teal struggling in the 720. Remember, he has completed his strategy. Let's see when the LRL boys will take their jokers. Magnus is not going to follow Dan Mack here. Interesting. I thought the teammates were going to follow each other, but Magnus to the race lead.
Guys, I'm kind of surprised that Magnus really hasn't shown the pace like he has in the first couple of rounds. So maybe this is kind of the boost he needs to have a good run in the feature if he makes it.
Pay attention to Bodie Cryer in the 0-5. We're going to come to 2 laps to go. And Magnus is going to have to run his strategy these last 2 laps, much like Chris Wetz used to do, as we mention in every show. But this is a longer joker. And again, like we've mentioned, you typically don't want to leave this joker this late. Let's see what will happen. Jokering is Magnus. Dan Mack comes out of the joker, takes the advantage. Hook is going to joker in the 137. We'll keep an eye on him. Cryer still has 1 joker left. Hook is going to get passed by Schofield and Howell. Those 2 have completed their strategies. Dan Mack into the wall in the 95. Teammates side by side as we have to take 1 more joker. These guys are going to have to follow each other into the joker. Gordon Labine off the lead lap in the 56. Hopefully he stays out of the way. White flag in semifinal B between the LRL Racing teammates. They both have to joker. So does Cryer. Will Schofield come out ahead of Cryer? The 2 teammates, nose to tail, exiting the joker. Schofield tries to take the advantage, can't get it done. He's going to have half a lap. These 2 scrapping back and forth between the race leaders, or before the race lead, I should say, Cody.
Let's see if, these 2 are battling door to door, coming to the dirt.
Schofield tries to take the advantage. I really want to give you an opportunity, but these guys will not let up. Daniel McDonald ahead of Magnus Ogenhaug. Schofield's going to have 1 corner for redemption. Final corner. Those 2 battling to the line. It's going to be a photo finish at the line. McDonald ahead of Ogenhaug for the semifinal B. Transfer or win. Cryer gets the transfer. Schofield robbed again ahead of Howell, Hook, Teal, Fleming, Kingsbury, and Gordon Labine. Wow.
As Schofield looks like, I think he's going to get the Heartbreak Award after having his stuff crash in his heat and then now coming within a half a car length of making the final. As Victor, it looks like our main man is muted at the moment.
Yeah, that is correct. He is muted. He's taking his break, his well-deserved break for all of the action we've had tonight. But I think this gives us a moment to get our predictions in and catch up with a little bit more Twitch chats. So I guess I'll go ahead and start off with my prediction tonight. I'm 1 for 1, so I don't want to toot my own horn, but I am 1 for 1 tonight on prediction, or not tonight, but this season on predictions. I predicted Sindri was going to win last week. So this week, in true NASA form, I'm going to go ahead and choose the obvious guy, and that's going to be Connor Parisi. Cody, who do you got?
Well, I like to be kind of the oddball, obviously. But, so, kind of what I've seen so far tonight, I think I kind of like more the dark horse pick. Phil's a possibility. You got Magnus. He showed good pace the first 2 weeks, but not as well as I thought he would tonight. But the one I'm surprised about the most, even though he had to make his way through into the semi there and then made his by a photo finish, my pick is gonna be Dan Mack. He seems to have really good pace, and if he's able to get a good start here and play the strategy right, he could be a chance to win, or for sure a podium, but possibly win and upset our 2 championship favorites.
Yeah, and now I'm going to go ahead and put Charlie on the spot, as always. So, Charlie, who do you got for tonight?
Man, this is a tough one, guys, because, you know, I know odds on Silva or Parisi, but the fact that they have a side bet, makes me think there's a chance they could end up overexerting themselves and letting someone like Edmondson sneak in for the win. So just like last week, I'm going to go with Edmondson again. I think Parisi and Silva wreck each other on accident, and we see that top spot go to the 3rd fastest car tonight.
You know, and that's a really good choice, and I can see Sindre and Connor maybe not even wrecking themselves, but maybe just running themselves and battling each other so hard that it does give somebody like Josh Edmondson or maybe even a Philip Kraus the chance to sneak away with the win if they're on a different strategy than those two. If those two absolutely look at each other and just start battling, and especially because of that bet, it's going to be interesting. I know earlier today they were talking, I think Connor said, don't use a photo of my car because I'm behind Sindre. Oh, speaking of wrecking each other, there you go. There's a little small wreck right there. But Connor was like jokingly saying that he didn't like having his car behind Sindre's, so we'll see what happens going down into turn 1 and how aggressive Connor is to put his car out in front of Sindre. And I don't know if chat's had any predictions, but I'll turn it over to you again, Charlie, and see what's going on in Twitchland.
Real quick, Kieran Forrest weighed in saying that he does not believe the track was reset ahead of that last semifinal. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I know Josh isn't in here, but might be something for discussion later. And then, yeah, lots of predictions. We got L'Oreal, another Edmondson predict. Let's see, what else are we seeing in there? Yeah, Robbie for the upset. Everyone's just stoked about this race. It looks like people just can't wait to see how it goes down. But yeah, shout in chat if you have a prediction for the winner here.
Yeah, and Robbie was a good pick, especially since he showed a ton of pace in that last race. And Charlie, I like your pick just for the fact that he has shown that he can make it from the back. Like, he made it to 3rd, I believe, in his semi from like the back row of the grid. And he's going to be back there starting P10, so he's going to be on the back row again. So he's proved it once that he can do it. Let's see if he can prove it again.
You know, there's another guy in this session that's really giving me a big surprise right now, and that is Savion Raxter. Right now, 3rd fastest in practice. I am impressed with Savion so far. I don't know what he found in that Volkswagen of his, but he's absolutely flying right now. 3rd fastest. That's impressive.
I'm thinking someone put some superhuman mechanical strength after he unfortunately had a broken wrist injury. So
no kidding.
I wonder if the doctors fixed him up a little bit better than we thought.
A little bit of a cyborg action there, possibly. Who knows? But one thing I do know is this warm-up session is coming to an end, and that means I'm going to turn the reins back over to the voice of the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge, Josh Mertz.
As guess what time it is? Round number 188 of the championship overall, and the 3rd round of the 23rd season. We welcome you to live coverage of the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge presented by Nitro Circus on Nitro Circus Twitch, powered by the Automotive Sports Network. Victor Vallee in the production truck, Charlie Daniels in Twitch land, Cody Erdmann next to me in the commentary cube. I am Josh Mertz as we get ready for this 12-car, 10-lap feature race. On pole position, Connor Parisi ahead of his rival Sindre Silva, Luke Kraus on the front row. Then it's Philip Kraus, Robbie L'Oreal, and Savion Ragster. Josh Clogg, Daniel McDonald, Ray Kingsbury, Magnus Okenhaug, Josh Edmondson, Bodie Cryer. 12 cars into turn 1 here in Norway, and I can't tell you what's going to happen in true NASA fashion. Hashtag NASA Rallycross, hashtag NASA on Nitro as we get ready here in Norway. We go green in Norway, and off the line, Connor Parisi gets a good start ahead of Sindre Silva. Side by side in turn number one, Luke Krause is going to joker on the first opportunity. Sabian Ragster, along with Larill, Cryer, Kingsbury, all jokers. Side by side, Krause, Phil Krause that is, with Sindre Silva. Clock gets turned by, it looks like Dan McDonald. I missed it, but he saved it in turn two. Gets nudged by McDonald again. Side by side, Parisi and Silva for a moment. Side by side, the teammates battling. Okenhaug versus Dan Mack. Leading the Joker squad is Luke Krause. Dan Mack keeps ahead of Okenhaug at the end of the first lap. Parisi leads ahead of Sindre Silva like we have not seen yet this season. They do not joker. Krause does not joker. This race already getting good.
Yeah, on the first corner there, Sindre ran really wide, and then unfortunately almost put him in a situation where Clog went bowling into him. As Sindre looks up on the inside, made a little bit of contact as he's trying to get a good run, possibly set up Connor to get by him.
As Edmondson turns himself off the rear bumper of Okenhaug, so I think that Charlie Daniels should stop picking Josh Edmondson. Parisi holds the lead. The two LRL cars battling. No jokers between these two. So Connor might be getting some mind games here from Sindre. I remember you and I used to do this. You force the guy into a mistake, or you force the guy to joker.
Yeah, putting a ton of pressure. Sindre
Sindre tries it! He loops it! Sindre, the 63, the points leader, on the curb, loses second to Philip Krause.
As Sindre pushed the issue a little bit too much there, as Philip was able to capitalize and jump into P2. And just like last week, we had the same three guys up in the top three.
God, this reminds me of Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, and Valtteri Bottas, even though two of them are not teammates. The three Subarus always out front and always on the podium, and Connor Parisi ahead of Philip Krause. And dare I say it, maybe Sindre was pushing too hard, Cody, too early on.
Yeah, that was kind of a pushing the issue there a little bit more than he should have, I think. I think if he would just played his joker right and then able just to kind of reel him in that way and not really have to pass him on track and just use strategy, I think that would have been a lot easier. Now he's staring at the back bumper of that white and pink and black Spark car.
As Dan Mack got another slowdown, all these guys were in a hornet's nest. It was Clog, Dan Mack, Larill, Ragster, and Cryer. Jokering is Okenhaug. He stays out ahead of Luke Krause. And we haven't even looked at the strategy as we begin lap number 5 here, Cody. Luke Krause finished his jokers on the first 2 laps. These guys have not jokered. So dare I say it, Luke Krause might be in the catbird seat. Of course, we'll have to wait and see. But just like the NR days when we raced together, we would scrap, and then Wetz, for example, would appear out of nowhere and take the win.
Yeah, nobody's really jokering. I wonder if they're going to wait until the end, which that Luke Krause may be, as you say, in the catbird seat here. As also
Okenhaug ahead of ahead of Krause.
As I'm kind of surprised here that Phil's able to keep up, and he's only about a second behind Connor here. He's able to keep really good pace, and he hasn't a slight slip up there.
The inside went Sindre in the final corner. Sindre was dropped by Spark LLM after assisting that team to win the championship. Krause will joker, so he pulls the pin to the grenade, and he will lead the podium brigade onto the joker. He comes out ahead of Clog, crucially, as Clog completes his strategy. Okenhaug and Krause will get by Clog, and Krause, dare I say it, he might be getting held up by Magnus here.
Yes, Magnus has one joker that left to do, as Krause doesn't. So I'll
Krause
see
off the road in the 19. So just as he was going, he hit the wall up the hill on the right-hander, and it sent him wide. Parisi jokers now in the 11. Sindre does not. So the rotation will flip back to Sindre Silva, who leads the race coming to 2 laps to go.
As this may not be a smart or a bad idea for Connor. Sorry. because this way he doesn't have to worry about following him or getting past and then having to follow him through the Joker in the final lap. So offsetting is probably the smart move on Connor's part.
I remember when that famous Munich race where you misjokered, and I believe you followed Wett's home on the final lap, and this is what Connor Parisi doesn't want to do. 2 laps to go for Sindre Silva. And they're both gonna joker, but Sindre has to take a second joker. He has to take his first one now. So this, coming out of the jokers, Philip Kraus in the 19. I think he still has a joker left. Parisi has a joker left, so Luke Kraus getting very close here.
Yeah, even surprised after Phil's mistake that he's so close up on Connor. Either Phil's been putting in some crazy lap times or something, because he made a serious mistake and he was able actually to close the gap.
Kraus has not taken his second joker, I don't believe. We're going to take the white flag here in Norway, and everything will update. Sindre Silva will have to joker. Connor Parisi does not joker. Philip Kraus has to joker. Sindre Silva to the right, Sindre Silva gets passed by Connor Parisi for the race lead. Luke Kraus comes out ahead of Philip Kraus for the podium place. And Sindre on the back foot for the last half a lap. Final hairpin, back straightaway, even though it's not really a straightaway for the final time. Sindre Silva's trying, but he won't be able to get it done. The record's gonna stand. Connor Parisi wins in Norway. The perfect redemption from last season's struggles ahead of Sindre Silva. Luke Kraus gets ahead of Philip Kraus for the podium place, his second this season. Magnus Okenhaug, Josh Klog, Sabian Ragster, Ray Kingsbury. Wow. Bodie Cryer, Robbie Larill, who else is there? I don't even have the results pulled up. Dan McDonald and Josh Edmondson, the remaining order.
As we had an amazing race, just like every other week, and for the weeks to come.
And these two burning it down in the infield, and so is Luke Kraus. Why do you need a podium ceremony? This is the podium ceremony here in Norway. I can't help but just sit and watch and not say anything.
Cue the Tokyo Drift music.
Wow. So, I will attempt to get our podium here in the Discord. Doesn't look like we have Luke Kraus right away, but we will have a chat with Sindre Silva until we can get Luke Kraus. We know that Luke Kraus might not be on Discord for the interviews, so it is all okay. We're going to move these guys to the media pen. As Cody Erdmann, we will have you have a chat with Sindre Silva, our second place man here in Norway.
Hey there, Sindre.
Hello.
Well, good race by you. You and Connor put on a great show like you two do every week. Fortunately, this week, Connor was able to get the best of you this week. Do you think you had anything different that you would have been able to change this outcome of the race, or was it kind of the cards fell the way they did?
First of all, that second place saying I heard here it was not something I want to hear again, so I will be back next week for sure. To your question, I don't know. I had a little mistake there, going too wide into the T5 or T4 or whatever it's called. So I got to slow down. Then Phil was ahead of me. I lost a little bit of time, but not too much. So that ruined a little bit. I did some mega jokers. I gained 2/10 only by doing my jokers. And it's my worst track, and I am 1 second off his pace. So I think it should be fun to see my best tracks coming forward here now.
Well, you definitely put on a good show, and yeah, you were able to keep up with them very well. And yeah, those jokers were spot on perfect. On that one mistake, I kind of made a comment. Do you think maybe like laying back for a second and try playing the strategy card might have been the smarter move, or did you really feel like if that was your one chance to pass him?
I didn't really try to pass him that way. I wanted to show myself, like be in the mirror all the time. Don't let him put down those laps that he can do, because he's much faster than me around this track. So I just wanted to show myself, and we just came too close, and we had that contact. He went a little bit wider than me into that corner that really put me off. And if I'm gonna back down there and not fully commit to the line that I'm using, I'm gonna be like 3-4 tenths slower than I'm usually. So it's like you need to do it, and this time I couldn't get it to work.
Well, I know it's not where you want to be.
No.
Yeah, I totally get it, especially between you two guys. I know that you guys are so good, and but you're also like very even. So having this this could be the difference between your third in a row championship, I believe, or having. So I totally understand your thought. With that being said, who helped you get to this spot here to this week?
For sure not my computer with all this lag, but I want to thank Fox Gaming for awesome support. I want to thank our sponsors with the awesome support throughout the season. I want to thank Power, Örsky Sparbank, Nocco, Adidas, and Fjordfjell for putting up the whole season for us and helping us throughout the season and whatever we're going to drive in the future.
Well, thank you for putting on a great show for all the fans, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we will.
All right, and now I am joined
Make sure you're
here.
unmuted.
Yeah, I was gonna say
before you
that's what
talk.
I was about to do because I know I'm not very good at doing that, but I know somebody who's very good at what they do, and that is Connor Parisi, tonight's winner. Dude, how'd you do it? I mean, that was just sensational driving by you.
Honestly, once we just got through turn one, I was just trying to put my head down and put some laps together so that I know I was worried about Luke finishing both his jokers right off the start, so it was just putting my head down and trying to get that delta up.
Yeah, and as I say, I noticed throughout the night you had pressure from both Sindre, Luke, and Phil. All three of those guys kind of seemed to give you guys pretty good pressure throughout the night. At the end of the day, as I say, as long as you didn't make a mistake, you were gonna win. Do you think that's a true statement, or if you just had to have a perfect race, or what'd you have to do to win this thing?
Well, you guys definitely weren't watching my joker laps then, because they were. Let's just say there was a couple of mistakes on both of them. But it was just enough to get the W tonight. Sindre was close. I know he got to my door in that hairpin once. I'm not sure if that was my fault. It came down on him or whatnot. But it was enough for tonight, so I'll take the points and run. I'm glad to end Sindre's streak, too. I know that was important to him.
Yeah, and to talk a little bit about the bet you and Sindre had tonight from what I heard Josh was saying. You guys had a bet tonight.
There was some just good old-fashioned mind games on the Twitter. Nothing more.
Nothing more. And of course, as always, I gotta thank you. Thank you for showing up, and now you get to thank who makes this all possible for you.
Well, it's been a while since I've said it, but winners get whiskey, so I got a fistful of bourbon. Definitely gonna pop one off tonight. It's my Friday, so I'm definitely gonna sit down and rewatch the show. So thank you guys for putting on the show. Thank you, Nitro Circus, and then everyone else at Jim B Resports, especially Josh Edmondson, who's stepped up to help with the RX stuff. And we got Polaris Razor, Motorsports Drop, just all of them. It's just it's a good crew we got. So we're excited things coming too. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we're excited too. Thanks so much for showing up and having an interview tonight, Connor.
Thanks, fellas.
And I'm happy I don't have to do an interview for second place for Connor 3 weeks in a row.
Ditto.
And finally, Josh, you got Philip Kraus down there. Our fourth place finisher. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get Luke Kraus, but we do have another Kraus.
You know you're not supposed to hit the wall on the dirt, right? You had such a perfect race.
It looked inviting. It looked kind of tasty. I wanted to take a bite out of it, and turns out, don't bite walls. They taste bad.
They hurt. How was that race from your perspective? I was losing my mind up here.
I mean, you're kind of just stuck the first few laps because, like, I know I'm not quicker than Connor or Sindre, and I wasn't going to send him, so it's just like, well, how do I sit here without losing time? Because I didn't have a Joker Delta behind me, so it's like, well, I'm stuck here. I mean, like, I felt like I could have gone like a 10th or 2 a lap quicker, maybe, but I was scared to push behind people because like all the dirt and you're basically blind. So I'm just like, well, I'm just stuck here, and then I decided to have a lapse in judgment, hit a wall in a straight line, and that threw away third. So could be better.
Oh, what was your reaction aside from the laser focus that I know you have when you saw Sindre and Connor come together on that hairpin?
I mean, I don't know if I'd say I have laser focus if I crash into a wall in a straight line. That doesn't sound very focused to me, but it looked like they were getting a little racy, and I ended up getting by Sindre, I think, when he got a slowdown, and I'm like, oh, how am I here? I don't belong here. I was sort of keeping up with Connor. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? You feel me?
Yeah, I'm still a little salty that you decided to get back in the car, but I'm very glad that at least one of us has some talent to get some good finishes. So, any partners you'd like to thank for tonight's race, buddy?
Spark logo, it's pretty big. I said it last time. It's real big. I don't think you can miss it. Give them a look. Just really disappointed we didn't get third, to be honest.
As hopefully you can jump on that podium next week in Indianapolis. I know you have some experience there. I believe you've won there a couple times. So, good run tonight. I know it's not the ideal run, but we will see you next week.
Yeah, no promises. We'll see.
As we finish up with our top 2 and 4th interview, let's get some final thoughts. Charlie Daniels, Twitchland update, and your thoughts.
What a race. I am going to stop predicting for Josh Edmondson because I feel like I'm cursing him every week. So next week, something different. Before I sign off, though, I want to say thank you so much to Smooth One, 1,400 bits. Cheers. Thanks, Nitro from DGR, Smooth One says. So it must be someone from DGR, the DGR team there. And then One Bullet left with 100 bits. Thank you all for the support. Love it all. Every little bit counts, no pun intended. And man, you guys, what a race. I'm, as someone who's coming into this pretty fresh, not, I'm got my feet wet with some Nitro Rallycross IRL, but I'm starting to get more and more excited about the strategies, and we're seeing so much good racing here. I'm just shouting it from the rooftops. Everyone should come and watch this. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your friends' enemies and your enemies' friends, because this is the show to watch on Wednesday nights, guys. Back to you.
And Cody?
Definitely kind of the other side of the page, I would say, on what we've kind of seen as the recent past of now Connor taking the top step and Sindre being second. But we are going to Indy. It's a very tight track, very fast track, though, especially using the whole front straightaway of the half mile. So should be a good, exciting race as we get to go home for at least us 3.
And figuratively speaking, yes, we do, especially for Victor Vallee. He's right down the road.
Yeah, I absolutely am. And I love it.
Victor Vallee, final thought.
Well, something to keep in mind. Last year, Sindre Silva did not partake in the IRP event last year. So, that means he has a little less experience, especially against the guys that are in this field. And let's say one of those guys who was on the podium last year at IRP, guy who won tonight, Connor Parisi. So, actually, I think he won, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Not to interrupt you, I was actually going to bring that up. We've run 6 times at Indianapolis, 5 of which on iRacing. Philip Kraus won the race on NR 2003, which counts in my mind, but everyone else doesn't count.
I missed that track. That was a lot of fun, that race.
Yeah, I'm still mad at you. But Connor Parisi, 3 wins out of 6 races. So I don't want to hijack your thought here, but that's actually something to think about.
Absolutely, and this is going to bring the points battle right back together here if, and I'm going to have to make sure I say if, because nothing is guaranteed in NASA Rallycross competition. Nothing is guaranteed in any kind of racing at all. It doesn't matter if it's sim racing or real life racing. And so nothing is ever guaranteed. But if Connor can continue his good luck streak at IRP, points will be tied up, possibly going into the 5th or 4th week. Wherever we're going.
After the 4th week.
After the 4th week. You're correct. This is the 3rd week. Then we'll have the 4th week. Then 2 weeks from now is 5 weeks. But everything will be tied up going into the 5th week in the halfway point in the NASA Rallycross Challenge.
And to really recap it, I mean, Connor Parisi, again, I know how fast he is. I won on luck against him at a road course in these cars when we thought that was a good idea. So the guy's quick. Obviously, so is Sindre. Really quick, I want to make a note. Dylan Livingood, if you are watching, I don't think you are, but I want to give you a shout out in kind of a bad way. Connor Parisi's about to tie you for 5th on the wins list. So the 4-time champion and 13-time race winner might start to lose his place on the wins list. And it's crazy to see that Connor Parisi's 6th on the wins list with 12 wins over the past 3 years change here on the iRacing Simulator. We have a couple programming notes here on Nitro Circus Twitch, powered by the Automotive Sports Network. Next Monday, we go, that's the wrong graphic, Josh. We go to Brands Hatch for the American Stroke Association Grand Prix for the Penguin RC Simulations NASA Sports Car Challenge presented by Nitro Circus. You'll join myself, Victor Vallee, and Mike Berry about 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on Nitro Circus Twitch. And next Wednesday, the iDriveSimTraining Indianapolis Showdown at Lucas Oil Raceway in Claremont. About half an hour, I would say, from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And that is going to be a fun race. Victor Vallee, I hate you. Don't correct me on my geography right now. As we will all be here, myself, Cody Erdmann, Victor Vallee, Charley Daniels. I might be a little bit different sounding. I'm going to go visit my sister and nephew and niece in Michigan, but hopefully I'll be able to join. If not, I'll figure it out. But from all of us here at the Automotive Sports Network and Nitro Circus Twitch, Charley Daniels, Victor Vallee, Cody Erdmann, who else? Ray Kingsbury, Brandon Lambert, the whole leadership team in NASA Sim Racing and Nitro Circus. I am Josh Mertz, and we will see you either next Monday or next Wednesday for some NASA Sim Racing action. But until then, so long, everyone.